My check, 1, 2, 1, 2. My check, 1, 2. Process. Yeah, waiting on episodes, process. Waiting on episodes, process. Waiting on episodes, process. Progress, process. Waiting on episodes, process. Had to edit the podcast because I messed up on it. Nah, I really messed up, but however, I did forgot to edit out one word, so I had to go re-edit it. Then I just re-edited it, and now I'm waiting for the file to re-upload. So I hope nobody's seen it yet, so they don't have to listen to the edit I made earlier.
Yeah.
Now it's gone, and it disappeared, and nobody knows. Hopefully, but if they do, oh well, it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
No test tube. I ain't got no babies. The edit is finished. I'm about to save changes. Changes have been saved. Now the podcast is up again. Back like I never left. And now I am here with DJD Ice. It's called the DZN Podcast. I'm your host, Retro Dre. Every day, I am one part of the 1/3 of the DZN Podcast. Zoe and Nas are the other two. And to put them together, you get this podcast to work. DZN Podcast. And that's right off the brain. That's because it's our podcast. Yeah, I got that out today. Now I'm about to play the beat and say today, DZN. Welcome back to DZN Podcast. I am your host, Retro Dre in the building. And if you want to follow us, make sure you follow us on DZN Podcast on Twitter, DZN Podcast on Instagram, D.Z.N Podcast on Instagram. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars on all podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to and get podcasts at. Make sure to give us a good rating, follow us and all that jazz so we can get more listeners, so we can get more support, and so we can get more people to buy into what we doing over here, man. If you can't come to us, we might come to you. You never know, man. We travel all over the world if we can, man. Want us to go overseas when this corona shit's over, man? Give us a goddamn ticket. We might pop up over there. You never know, man. Listen, man. We are creators in our own right. We rap, we make beats, we engineer, we do art, we dance. It's all types of stuff that we do. So y'all gotta just remember that we are multi-talented people, and we interview or talk to multi-talented people or specialists of what they do, or pretty much anybody we think that's interested. So that's what we do on the DZN Podcast. Just remember that. And I am your host, Dre. And even though I play music already, we're gonna really get into the music right now. So it's the DZN Podcast. 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 Retro Dre on the DZN Podcast. About 6 o'clock on the DZN Podcast. Every day, every night, DZN Podcast. I might use the same flow, I don't care. I'm rapping on beats I made every day. I'm still going off like it's every night. Real easy ain't hard, knows that's right. It's the DZN Podcast. Represent every day the DZN Podcast. You know what we do. Have conversations about music, sports, and life. What else that we do or talk about or go up anyway. On the beat switch, kinda crazy that way. You just know you on the DZN Podcast when you hear these voice and these beats on the podcast. Gotta let them know DZN Podcast. Retro Dre on the DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. Having conversations talking about sports, music, and life. You do it every day. That's right, DZN Podcast. You know what it is, know how we do, how we get it it in on every episode. Dre, Zoe, and Nas talking about anything they really want. We about to do it every day. It's unfiltered. Come see us. Gonna give you the best conversations you ever heard. It's the DZN Podcast. 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 What? Retro Drake on the DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. It's the DZN Podcast. All right, let's make some noise for us. Wait, quick, hold up. I gotta get the buttons right. Okay. I usually don't do intros that long, but we're gonna do one like that today. It's the DZN Podcast, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
If you can't come to us, we'll come to you. But my guest today is DJ D Ice. Represent yourself, sir.
Yes, sir. DJ D Ice, straight out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Yep, you know what I'm saying, repping that 336 all day. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I've been a DJ for about 10 years. I started my junior year of high school. I was about 17 years old, and I started out, you know what I'm saying, like doing house parties, you know what I'm saying, at my friend's house, and, you know, and they were always like, you know, like, you should be a DJ, you know, because I used to bring over, like, this boom box, and I used to have this large collection of CDs, and I would just, you know, like, swap out the CDs, you know, while they would party and stuff like that. So that's how it all started. They pretty much, like, inspired me to pursue that dream. So
all right, that's what's up. So if you had like a favorite set, what would be your most favorite and legendary set?
That's a good question, actually. There have been some very memorable like nights where it wasn't exactly a show. It was just like a party, like a house party where it'd be like a friend's birthday or something like that, and a lot of crazy energy, you know, stuff like that. But as far as like official shows go, I DJ'd WSSU Homecoming 2012 at Ziggy's, which is now closed down. But I did their homecoming concert. I opened up for Michael Montana. He had just dropped his single "Do It." I DJ'd on stage before he hit the stage, and there was probably about 1,000 people in there. You know what I'm saying, give or take. I want to say that was probably the most epic one of all time, because the energy was crazy, the turnout was great. It was awesome.
All right, cool. So if you had to describe yourself with one or a few words, what would that be? Authentic,
unique. When it comes to DJing, I like to, quote unquote, you know, play it like I would film a movie. I like to start out slow and then, you know, build up and then, you know, and then like eventually hit the finale. So that's kind of how I would describe like my DJ style in a way.
Okay. So, all right. You just put out a project.
I did.
Tell some people what this project is about, man.
Yeah. So, I started a little mixtape series. It's called Turntable Dreams, and the reason why I call it that is because, you know, as a DJ, I have dreams of rocking crowds in front of thousands of people. That's what I want to do for a living. That's my dream. That's my goal. So that's kind of like where the name came from. And basically, it's just a mixtape series, and it's basically just a collection of mixes that I've made over the years. Usually they're centered around one artist. It's like a spotlight mix, you know what I'm saying, per se. It's either centered around an artist or a genre. So that's kind of how I like to word it. So I I released the at least volume 1 in 2014. Yeah, 2014. That was released on DatPiff. Multiple other, like mixtape websites. And then I just dropped, volume 2 last week. And it was important to me because, there was a large time gap in between, the whole, volume 1 and volume 2, but that was because, me personally as an artist, I thought I needed to grow, I needed to get better, so that's why I took some time. So music is always my first love. I'm never going to quit it, completely, but it is important to know who you are as an artist, and it's important to grow as an artist. It's important to perfect your craft. So I wanted to get better, so that's why I waited so long to release volume 2. And yeah, I needed to record vocals for this one in particular because there wasn't any vocals on the first one, so I wanted to add some vocals to this one. I wanted to actually host it. So that's where you came into play.
Hey.
Yeah, what I'm saying? Shout out AMI Studios. Yeah.
Let them know. Hold on.
Yes.
Let them know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Great staff, incredible engineers and producers. It was a very, very inviting, and welcoming studio, and and it felt like you guys were actually trying to help me, instead of just being like, oh, he's just here to record, let's just get him out here as quick as possible. Y'all were just it's like you gave pointers, and and because I asked for them, that too, because I'm always willing to learn, and I also discussed with you how I want to get into more of the production scene. So yeah.
Facts, and I honestly think that's really important, man.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, because I literally was just thinking about this the past few days, just we're at a point, well, at least I'm at a point where I gotta click a reset button, even because I started doing it in 2018. Yeah. So, but now I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to get really more into it and starting to gear and stuff. So now I'm really in the phase of really going into the observing phase.
Absolutely.
Instead of just trying to make beats every day now or do, because I even though it's only been 2 months, 2 or 3 months, I've done it. Maybe it's every day for 2 months. It may not have been that much, but just to say and just to get repetition up, I do it and I can do it. Now it's all right, how do I grow and get better for real at mixing, making beats, doing sessions, and actually getting better at my craft?
Yeah, you just got to put in the time, man. That's just what it's about. Like you serious about it, what I'm saying? You'll put in the work, you'll put in the effort. Straight up.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And every time you especially with music, it's almost impossible to master it all, because once you get to a certain point, you discover that there's a whole another mountaintop that you have to reach, and that's the great thing about it. It's creating, it's getting better, and and when you see yourself getting better, that makes you want to do better and do more. So
yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Because that's not even just music though. That's everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere you realize you got to get better and this, that, and that. But you can't just go out and always do stuff. You got to just look and watch the professionals do what they do. Right. So you can pick up, if I put that L2 compressor on these vocals, they're going to pop like that. Yeah. Or if I EQ the beat around, I EQ the snare around 300 hertz or 800 hertz, that's what'll bring out the body or dim the highs of it a little bit, or 10,000 or that range and all.
Absolutely. So, yeah. I mean, study the greats. Study the people that influence you. I mean, I do, and I mean, not only am I really influenced by people by the legends, but I'm also influenced by the people that are around me every day. It's we're we're all in this together, so I just try to, lend my support to, like other DJs too, like, something like whenever I can. I mean, I think that's an important thing. Like support is a very important thing when it comes to this kind of business. And I'm definitely a fan of, like people that I know, personally, like DJs that I personally know. So, also take pointers from them too, because like there's something to learn from everybody, and every DJ is different. That's something to to remember as well. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I've never met the same DJ. Never. There's always, every DJ's got his preference, his own way of doing things, and that's great because that's what's great about DJing in general. It's the ability to do things how you want to do them, to like be able to play the music that you like, for fans or like for your crowd, like that's a good feeling, there's like nothing really beats that.
Shout out to my neighbor Ben. He gave me my first turntables. I was randomly coming out to do a session, go to somebody's crib and do a session, and he was like, "Yo, you record?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, and I said like after, I was like, "I'm trying to learn how to DJ too," and because he said he was a DJ at first, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm trying to DJ, but I ain't got no tables." So like, "Yo, let me give you something." Like, "Oh, all right." And he gave me 2 boards. I have not plugged them in yet though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the spacing, man. I got a little rack for the laptop too, but it's just I ain't got enough space right now. But I'm gonna make space and I'm gonna start scratching because since I got into this, one other thing I've been really wanting to do is make beats on MPC. Don't got one yet.
Yeah.
And also scratch on a beat myself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Those are the 2 main things I've been really wanting to do production wise.
Right. And I mean, like, I hear you on that because I've been DJing 10 years. I mean, like, even I haven't perfected like scratching yet. That's still something that like I'm still like diving into as well. It's a craft and it takes time. So.
Because when I used to go to Guitar Center when they were open, like for displays and whatnot, I used to always I had no idea how to DJ. I would just mess with the turntables and the tempo meters and the different buttons. Because some different turntables will have the soundboard so you can actually click it and do stutter edits and all that, and then stops and hot cues and whatnot. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Then they had this one where it was like a digital thing you could like just go and just search the songs on. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing we were talking about before too. Like on like DJ and producing and how they pretty much go hand in hand. DJs make great producers and then vice versa.
Just Blaze, Night Wonder.
Yep. Questlove,
Premier.
Yep. All of them. It's but like one thing that I think is great about it is ever since I became it, all these other things have like stemmed from it. So it's like the production side, I'm saying, as far as like making beats, goes, that comes into play, like the merchandise, like the shows, the promoting, like it all, it's all connected. It's all connected.
So if you could give any tips on branding yourself as a DJ, what would you give?
Well, like be yourself. Yes, take advice like from others, from people who have, been doing this, like for a long time, but like always, like do it your own way, just don't try to be somebody you're not. Just, just be you and be unique. That's all I got to say, really. Like I said before, everybody's got their own style, their own way of doing things, and I respect that. So all right, I'm gonna add like a DJ for a second, yo. Okay.
Any upcoming DJs out there? I could be dead wrong what I'm saying right now. Correct me if I am. Like, yo, Don't steal samples. Don't steal records. You're corny, first of all. And if you try to be someone beside yourself, you're just like everybody else who's making beats out here. You're just cornballs.
Yeah, facts.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like definitely don't try to bite anybody. Like something that I've noticed is that like a lot of people like to rip tracks. Like they like to steal tracks off of SoundCloud and wherever music is posted, and that's somebody's music. That's something that they put like their time and effort into. I don't I think if you are going to play another DJ's record, at least ask them for it, or like see if you can like get a submission or something. I just don't think you should let's see, like what's the word for it? I guess downplay somebody else's like craft by doing that. So
I call it sneak dissing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Sound biting, whatever you want to call it.
All right, so what's the DJ community like? Because I have most ideas of how the producer community is, the artist communities, gaming community, because I came up gaming.
Okay,
so what's the DJ community like?
It's great. But you also have to understand, as of recently, the DJ community has changed in a lot of like dramatic ways due to like what's going on in the world right now. We're having to find like different ways to promote ourselves. A lot of DJs, they stream now, and that's a big change from being in clubs and bars and like live events all the time, because it's cool, but it's not the same. It's really just not the same.
You don't get on Twitch, man.
Yeah, it's just not the same. Like like the feeling of just being in front of a live crowd, and being in front of a camera, just like just one single camera. It's just not, the aesthetic is not there. So
just plug a cord in the IG live and just go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's as far as like in North Carolina goes, the DJ community is definitely healthy. I think we do a good job of like supporting each other, but it could always be better. Like me personally, if I have the night off, I'll hit up one of my my DJ homies, and I'll be like, like, where you playing at tonight? Let me come through. So that's just me though. I don't really know how anybody else goes about it, but I always try to lend a hand when I can. That's just me. I've always been a really big supporter of anybody that wants to follow their dreams. So I just try to lend my support, and yeah.
All right, so what's one of the craziest things you've seen while you're doing a gig?
One of the craziest things I've seen. Ooh, well, there have been some times where, we were back in my high school days, I guess you could say, when I was first starting out, when we were like throwing crazy house parties, there would always be like a fight or two, or I recall one time, there was a huge fight at this party I was DJing at, and like there were guns drawn, like somebody got stabbed, this, that, and the other, saw some blood. So I guess you could say that's probably up there with, as far as like what I've like the craziest thing I've probably like ever seen, as far as like while I'm DJing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But to some people, that's regular though.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are like, man, I hold the pull out a strap every day, yo.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Nothing.
Some, like for the steppers out there, that's just how it is.
Yeah, man. Shoot. I know somebody probably got a story where they chopped somebody with a turntable. Probably just like gave somebody like a clean $150 across the face with a turntable. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. So you got anything you want to talk about, man? Got anything?
Yeah. First off, again, I want to give a shout out to you and AMI Studios. You know what I'm saying? Great cast of people. That's where I recorded my EP, which is on Bandcamp now. That's Turntable Dreams. You know what I'm saying? Volume 2. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You heard it here first.
Exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. Yeah, exclusive sneak preview. Right. But just go check that out. If you can, or if you want to.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
Go check it out. You want to. Go check it out.
Appreciate it. I'm just trying to, find different ways to promote myself. This year alone, I feel like I've done a lot. I dropped a lot of merch. I dropped an EP. All things considered, I've done a couple of streams myself. So like all things considered, I'm trying to keep myself relevant out here because you do have to be consistent with this, and because people will forget about you, like they will, especially during times like this where you're not as exposed, so yeah, I would just say just go check out the EP, and that's about it for me.
All right, so I'm gonna give a little advice on promotion. I ain't the best promoter in the world, but however, if you do want to promote yourself, one, have your own domain.
Yes.
That's one thing you gotta have.
Yes.
Two, have some money. Know how to make some bread.
Yeah.
Because I really think there's a lot of people out here that don't understand the having money portion of the equation of promoting yourself and being independent. You have to have money to buy websites. It costs almost $700.
Yes.
And then when you have to buy other stuff to go along with it, like professional emails and email lists, like MailChimp, you can run a quick $1,000 like out of there. Only reason I'm telling you because I just did this.
Right.
Go to retrosoundwavemedia.com if you want to see some of my work and get in touch with me about other stuff. However, if you're trying to promote yourself and get yourself out there, those are the most important things. Money, own domain, and being active but authentic as possible to yourself and your brand on social media.
Absolutely.
And brand yourself accurately.
Yes.
So when you do something out of the ordinary, it's just you instead of it's not your brand.
Mm-hmm. And be professional. You know what I mean? Because when you do good business, people will book you. You know what I mean? Right. Like straight up, just be a pro. You know what I mean? Approach is everything. I mean, just like if you're serious about this, you know what I'm saying, like approach it the right way. I mean, there is a right and a wrong way to to approach this. So, and like you said, the money thing is a big thing too. Like when it comes to promotion, artwork, videos, websites, studio time, that all adds up, and it's not cheap. So, yeah.
And a lot of your favorite people who you think are actually getting these plays and getting this money, these niggas broke.
Facts.
Broke.
Facts.
Broke as shit.
Yeah.
But that is the game though, right?
Yeah.
Make it look like you're rich, but you really broke.
It's all about perceptions.
Yep.
Yeah, and like social medias, they help out a lot with that. So, that's always something to keep in mind too.
All right. If the people can reach you, where can they find you?
Yes. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My Twitter handle is DJ Dice 919, all one word. Same thing goes for Instagram. My Facebook is facebook.com /DJ Dice 336. So there you go.
All right, man. As always, if you don't know, you better find out. We are the DZN Podcast. I'm your host, Dre. If you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram at retrod.r.e. And you can find me on Twitter at retrodre_. And you can find us, the DZN Podcast, on Instagram at d.z.n.podcast. Twitter, DZN Podcast. YouTube, DZN Podcast Network, Apple, Spotify, all podcast platforms. Search DZN Podcast, all one word. And if you want to hit up Zoe, you can follow him on Instagram at young_Pluto08 and Nas NV.Z_. And this is the end of the DZN Podcast. And for today, we have a special outro song for today. And I'm just going to play it.